This is In the Loop. I'm Christian Bryant. The World Series wrapped up earlier this month. Tens of thousands attended every game, and millions watched as the Houston Astros and Philadelphia Phillies battled for baseball's championship. Pretty much all of those players worked their way up through the minor leagues to land the multi-million-dollar contracts they're signed with today. Until then, though, minor league players in every sport, but especially baseball, make less than that, a lot less than that. Sometimes even below the poverty line. But recent momentum for underpaid workers to unionize in coffee shops and warehouses might be turning the tide for minor league players in baseball and beyond. Over the next few Mondays, we'll be bringing you the latest stories on the business and culture behind the scenes in sports. It's all in our new season of our In the Loop series, Scoreboard. In recent decades, baseball's minor league system has lagged behind even as other leagues have invested in paying minor league athletes more. Players only get paid in season, and it doesn't even include things like the month-and-a-half-long spring training or off-season workouts.
If you asked most people what the average salary is of a player for the Tampa Bay Rays, for example, they would probably come up with some number in the millions of dollars. But when you actually account for all the minor leaguers, the average salary is quite low. And the lowest, you would be shocked to probably find out, is about $4,000. That's at the rookie level. That's at the lowest level. Their AAA players, closer to $12,000. It's exceedingly small. When you see numbers like that, it's really shocking to find out that those are employees and professional baseball players.
That's Nola Aga, an economics professor at the University of San Francisco. She's been working with More Than Baseball, a group advocating for better conditions for minor league players. A study she helped run for them surveyed minor league players about their conditions, and the results they got were not pretty.
They have to live. They have to be able to, afford decent housing so they can get decent sleep, so they can get nutritional supplements, so they can buy their own gear. They need playing opportunities. But the fourth most important need, they said, was nutritious food. So here we are talking about potentially the next big superstar, the next big player of the world. And their fourth most important need that they have is literally just for nutrition.
It was still, powdered egg, oatmeal, mystery meat. It was not very palatable.
Connor O'Neill saw some rough meals when he was a minor league player in both the New York Mets and Chicago White Sox. He made it to the high A level, 3 stops away from the majors, in a career spanning 5 years. It's a long and winding road for any player to the big leagues. So here's how the minor league levels work. Your path depends on whether you're from the US or abroad. American players have no choice where they play at first. After high school or at least 3 years of college, they enter a draft and have to sign with the team that selects them. Players from abroad can choose their team, but they usually have to sign at age 16 to draw any interest from American teams. Both domestic and international players get signing bonuses. Those can get big, but are usually quite small, especially after taxes and agent fees are removed. It can take players years to make it to the major leagues. Many never do. But if you want to try, any contract you sign allows a team to do whatever they want with you for up to 7 years. If you don't like the conditions or your role, you can't move on your own to another team. Teams are also free to pay players less than the minimum wage legally. Lobbying by baseball teams led to Congress passing the Save America's Pastime Act in 2018. It allowed MLB teams to exempt minor leaguers from minimum wage requirements.
Over the course of my minor league career, I never made more than about just over $10,000 in a season. That's before taxes. There's no way to make a living playing minor league baseball. You are losing money every single year you play.
That's Simon Rosenblum Larson. Until earlier this year, he was a pitcher in the Tampa Bay Rays organization. He made it up to Double-A before getting released. Both during and after his time playing, he got involved with More Than Baseball. Now he advocates for players to make more and live better than he and his teammates did.
Hourly, players are often working 10 to 12-hour days, 6 days a week. And that doesn't include travel time to and from games. That doesn't include, bus trips and things like that. It doesn't include required team events that you might have to attend during the day. So you're looking at, 60-hour work weeks at a minimum, and making $400 a week at 60-hour work weeks is quite a bit lower than what the average American is pulling in.
Simon's group estimates more than a half of all minor leaguers take second jobs in the offseason. Connor told us that sometimes there can be more yoga pants than you might expect.
So it was a lot of, front desk at gyms, Lululemon, stuff like that, where I could just do it part-time. And sort of, you're just only making ends meet in the off season just to allow yourself another opportunity to go play.
And not everyone's guaranteed help. When Connor was released and signed on with the Chicago White Sox, he lost money playing for them.
The White Sox, I signed with them, and they flew me to Arizona, and I had to get my own rental car that they didn't pay for. Had to get an Airbnb that they didn't help pay for. I got no reimbursements for it. So I lost a decent amount of money in my time with the White Sox, and that was pretty painful.
But things are changing. It took years of organizing, but near the end of this season, minor league baseball players quickly agreed to join the Major League Baseball Players Association, or MLBPA. Former minor leaguer turned lawyer and player labor advocate Garrett Brushhouse sees a lot of change in baseball tying back to changes both in other sports and in society.
Unions are more popular now than what they were 10 years ago. Minimum wage initiatives are more popular now than what they were 10 years ago. It took social media itself being out there. It took the lawsuit coming about. It took an advocacy group like Advocates for Minor Leaguers coming about. A number of things had to happen and line up for the changes that are taking place today to happen.
Numbers bear that out. A Gallup poll from August found support for unions in the US was at its highest level in 57 years, with more than 7 in 10 Americans approving of unions. These changes aren't unique to baseball. Players in minor leagues and even in less profitable major leagues have relied on unionization to push for better wages and living conditions. Take soccer, for example, where the second division USL Championship finalized a collective bargaining agreement before their 2022 season. USL Players Association head Connor Tobin told us about their bargaining success.
We're only 6 months in at the championship level to having a CBA, but we've seen wage growth in the last 6 months of 30% across the board.
Players in the top US Women's Soccer League, the NWSL, rolled out a promotional campaign featuring the hashtag No More Side Hustles as they negotiated a collective bargaining agreement.
These players were making $22,000 a year, right? And you can't live on that, especially not in New York, Chicago, places like that. So we did increase the minimum salary to $35,000. Players are guaranteed housing, access to some transportation support. They have pretty decent health insurance, and just some basic, tools in the toolbox to help people just singularly focus on their game.
Although the players' unions have different levels of experience negotiating, different considerations for players, different acceptable wages, all of them have reshaped life for top-level athletes, knocking on the door of major league success.